Hello? Is this thing on? Howdy everybody. It's been a bit. Um yeah. I'm pretty excited for this book. Book. Classic Echo. Alright. Yes. I'm still working on other videos. It's just things have gotten really crazy, but life is crazy, right? So let's not worry too much about that. Let's look at the task ahead of us. We've got the High Elves player guide. Elves. You like them or you hate them. You love them or you don't really care for them. Or you don't really have an opinion. I really... I like what they're getting at. Because I'm starting to realize, stuff that wasn't in the dwarf book, that probably will come in the GM guide. Though maybe not the weapon that I wanted, but I mean there's still time. There's still time. With this one, we got a pretty cool cover. This dude probably receiving the best head. And yeah. Some neat stuff right there. I think this is Andreas von Kattes Schoenberg again. Let's see. No, it's Alessandro Boer. Looks really good. Okay, that's a claw, not another head. What up, Wolona? Yeah, I think they did a pretty good job. I've actually read most of this book, except for all the fluff stuff. I've mostly just read, like, the mechanics. So, let me zoom out here. We've got 127 pages. Laughingelfs.png. No, we've got 127 pages of goodness. Obviously, in the front, you got your lore. No Gazette, because this is the player's guide. You've got cultural stuff here. Attitude on dwarfs. Pretty predictable. But, nothing on their views on halflings. And it references like an admiral who has like a notorious hatred of halflings. But, I mean, let's be honest. I know what everybody's really caring about here. It's the high magic. So let's check that out. High magic. Look at that. The Tower of Hoeth. Beautiful. I don't know if this is original art or not, but it looks nice. I know with the Dwarf Player's Guide, they, look at them training there. You got a wizard here. Where's the Loremasters? Maybe down here? It just looks like more Swordmasters. Maybe he is. He's got, like, a book, right? He could be. I know with the Dwarf book, they reused a lot of the art from the older editions. So, who knows? The high magic stuff, it's pretty cool. You got the fluffiness. You got the justifications. You start out, Priesthood of Isha. Marienburg is coming out at the end of the year. Interesting. I hope more books than that come out, though. I see that they are expanding their writing team, which is good, because they've taken on so many projects. Well, no, you should consider applying, if that interests you. They're calling for 40K writers for their RPGs. Yeah, speaking of Imperial Maledictum, Inquisitor's Player's Book, and I think the GM guide's dropping soon, or vice versa, because I only see one on the Cubicle 7 store. I'm not sure which one it is. But when both of those come out, I'm going to boom review them. It's time to take my step into the 40K. Dark Heresy. This is going to be a small aside, so Dark Heresy is near and dear to my heart. This is gonna be like Dark Heresy 4th edition, right? So, I'm just super excited for Imperial Maledictum, man. Inquisitor, that splat line or whatever, it's kind of like World of Darkness, right? That splat line is going to basically be Dark Heresy 3rd edition. I actually have a video I want to make on a campaign I ran. Not a very long one, just... I came up with a planet that I think is, in a science fiction sense, interesting. It's basically a tidally locked planet that has such a large artificial mountain in the middle of it, and it has a slight axial wiggle that it basically is like it gets its days like a sundial. And it, it's been calculated to be about 26 hours or whatever the hell, however long, but because it's an agri world. I don't know. That's a story for another time. The whole planet devoted to like supplying the nobles of the sector with luxury beers. But yeah. So we've got this. This is back to the actual book itself. You start out Priest of Isha, and then you get to go up to the tower. You get to do stuff. You can actually become a mage. My players throw the word mage around like it doesn't mean anything. They call themselves mages. They're wizards. They're human wizards. The elf, they are hold on. A mage. Dun dun dun. Look at this. You've got 5 levels. 5. Count them. So, start, next, no. Then you go up to the dex. Then you become a mage. Then you become a high mage. Then you're an archmage. It's pretty cool. I liked this quote. I'm going to zoom in for you guys here when I read it. I'm not going to do too much like reading lore and stuff like this, but this is just funny. Might I suggest that the Supreme Patriarch display a little more humility the next time he speaks with Illudraden? Yes, she may technically be considered an apprentice, but she commenced her studies prior to the conception of his father, and frankly finds his enthusiasm for the experimental implementations of Ashi to carry the risk of becoming tiresome. It's just nice. It's just like, Gorman, shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. This elf is older than you'll ever be. Because I assume that's not talking about Gelt. Maybe it is, but I assume it's talking about Gorman. Just because of the action part. But if it is Gelt, that's even funnier, honestly. But coming back up, there's some neat stuff in the high magic. There's actually some really cool things that I want to point out. So one, it actually addresses like previous edition stuff. Dude, there's something here that what is it? There's this guy in the community who makes it known. He's commented on my videos too. He like everywhere that people talk about this, he hates color magic. He hates color magic. And I know there's multiple people who are not a big fan, but this guy is like notorious for it. I forget what it is, but something in this book, this guy would be like, okay. I think he would. Let's see if we stumble upon it, or if I can remember. But basically, it reconciles. There's you can do the learn one wind at a time, or as an elf, you can kind of just go there's multiple ways to approach it. In some way you have to, display usefulness, the Dennis method. No, so let's get to the meat of it, the elves. But before, just real quick, not to tease you guys, it's just funny to me. You have such a long checklist to see if you can start casting high magic. Are you ready yet? Could you have all of these advances? Let me zoom in on that. Ah, gee. How do I get rid of that? Okay, there it goes. You need petty magic, arcane magic. You need so much skill advancements. It's insane. But, okay, here's my thought. Bless Arrow, if this was 2E, this would be a plus 10 to hit. I think that's what it should be. A Blessed Magic Arrow shouldn't it get a little small bonus to hitting? It's not just a magic arrow. Like, any human can do that, right? I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not high magic yet, right? But, I don't know. It's just, you'd think elf magic would do a little more. But a damage is fine. The thing is, the plus 10 to hit would also subsequently cause 1 damage. That's the other thing. Okay, so some of the things that we'll see in the martial techniques, I don't think they take into account how skillful elves are. Or maybe it does. I don't know. But, yeah. So, basically, anti-prejudice touch. Touch of tolerance, if you will, I guess. Green Finger. This one is basically, you just bring a plant back up to its maximum in its life. Because they eventually grow. It's not like the whoop, but dead plants return to life in a day. So I guess they've got that Fox Farm Boomerang blend, which is pretty good. I would recommend it. It's like $20 a bottle. If you have a dead plant that's died within like, the week, and it still has good roots, it could come back to life if you use that stuff. That's Fox Farm Boomerang blend. Buy it today. We got some other ones. Nothing really too crazy. Just mostly elf stuff like remove dirt, reveal magic. This one's kind of crazy. So we get into the arcane spells, right? Now this is actually really, really neat. Now you're mixing multiple winds here. You see Hish and Shish, or Gairan and Hamon. This one, enchant plant. It sounds so stupid. You wouldn't think it's actually like interesting at all. Oh, it's green magic. It's like 2E green magic. Well, guess what, buddy? Who's laughing when we put a lesser demon into our tobacco plant and you smoke it, huh? Who's laughing now? Wait! Oh my gosh, that was a movie. That was a movie, wasn't it? That was like a Comedy Central stoner movie. They the guy dies and they put his ashes into the soil and they grow a pot plant and they smoke it. And then, I swear, this sounds stupid as hell. They use his ghost, which they can only see when they're high on the weed from his, corpse, to help them pass Stanford, because he can cheat. Because he's a ghost, and he can, see the answers. Why did that unlock that memory in me? Anywho. I don't know. Oh, no. Okay, so, dude, there is some body horror stuff involving that later, involving transforming into a plant. I will wait for that to come up, because it's gonna come up. It's gonna come up. This is really cool to me, though, because, was it in Salzamund? Or in one of the books, it talks about how there was a group of, quadruplets or triplets or twins or something like that, and they each were magical, and they invented spells that used their winds together, but each one was only manipulating one at a time, so there's no, actual, danger for them, but they still got burnt at the stake, but their, writings, some of them still survive, so this is cool to me because it opens the door for that a bit more. I don't think we've seen much of that in Warhammer Fantasy yet. So for them to flesh it out in this way, I would say a good job. And, you got some of your standard good berry stuff, whatever. I mean, that's reductive, to be honest, but, shrug. We're moving on. You got all sorts of cool stuff here, I mean, this one is kind of neat. It doesn't matter, because normally I think there's different spells for a demon or a ghost for banishing. But this one, it's just it's it cleans it all. Just spray it down with this, and it'll get it. It doesn't matter. Tile, wood, metal, and you just spray the demons down. So, pretty good there, in my opinion. Magic Alarm. I swear we already have this, but this one I guess is a little bit stronger or something. I'm not really sure. There are some things that are just a retread of core in this in some points. With this, you basically go Eliza Thornberry. Like, nobody understands what you're saying. But you can use charm and other people's skills against animals, against their intelligence, instead of having to do charm animal. Which is neat. And it does kind of delineate that charm animal truly is like, okay, that's more like body language and like knowing an animal. And that sort of thing. We got all sorts of other stuff, you know, mask your emotions, heal yourself of your toxins. What the hell? You put the disease into the ether. I bet Nurgle loves that. What the hell? You're mainlining disease back in... Or would he hate that? It's like Return to Sender. That's probably what it is. He's like, what the hell? You know, it's like, poof, stamped. Alright. The other ones, you got Leadership. You got this, which is actually kind of neat. It's like, there's a spell in Cataclysm, Dark Days Ahead, Magicalism, that's kind of like this. It's basically like a really weak force field. So bugs can't really do nothing to you. Cold and heat don't affect you too much. Which is actually kind of neat. I know, there's a spell that basically does that for cold and heat, I think. Whoop. For fire. And that Max, I can't remember his last name, but the guy in Gotrek and Felix, he uses that spell. So that's neat that there's like a higher level of it. Alright. So. High magic. This, you can see it's expensive. It's very expensive. You've got some stuff to, you know, allow you to cast high magic here. Like Ish's Blessing and whatnot. It talks a little bit about this. We do have a couple cool careers other than the mage. This is my most excited thing here. Magical Burnout. Why? Okay. When people are casting, like, divine magic. So what this is basically, it says, like, this is, like, the limiting factor in casting high magic. It's not too terrible as it's written for high magic. But so basically, every time you overcast, you compare the total SL that you spend on overcasting. So not like the SL that you've spent to succeed. This SL that you are overcasting with. And they put a bunch of new overcast options, which we'll see in a second. But if that SL is more than your willpower bonus, there's a risk of magical burnout. So elves slinging big spells, they're going to tire themselves, right? It just makes sense. And when they do this, you know, they're going to be getting maybe 8 SL on their thing. Throw 4 at it. Okay, but they've got like 60 willpower probably. So this is going to be for the big spells out there. Right? Well, the CNs are... CN4, CN5, CN5, CN6, CN6, CN7, CN4, CN4. That said, you might not already notice, like, for every 6 SL, for every 10 SL, for every 3 SL, you know, there's a lot of overcast options. But, and obviously you can channel as much as you need to, right? But it's just... I don't know how often necessarily it'll come up. I guess I have to see it in play, right? Like, this is something that we're just not going to know until we see how it all shakes up. But what I really like about this is applying a system like this for major miracles. There's a miracle that can heal corruption. There's a miracle that can heal, well, within a certain time period. There's a miracle that can heal critical wounds. It's kind of on the DM to limit those as it is, but I think this is like actually a good blanket solution. You know, outside of like, oh, they get hungry, or oh, they get tired, or whatever. Like, yeah, they get tired or whatever. This is that, or their god, you know, oh, I can't access them anymore. This is that. Like this, I think, very easily. You know, you put your willpower bonus, your casting stat, whatever it is for prey. I forget what it is. I think it's willpower. And you compare it against your SL. You know, your bonus versus that, and you know, if it's over that, then you know, maybe I don't know, or maybe I don't know, but obviously even 2E talked about this. Healing magic you've got to be careful with because it can really cheapen things. Anywho, that's my thought on that. I just wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about that because I think it's interesting. I think it's a good tool to be co-opted or used elsewhere. Even in 2E, I think this is a system that could, you know, be used there. It's neat. It's neat. Kadai, they're like the elf gods. So you can have some runes of them, and it can help you reroll these things, basically. That's like the long and the short of it. You gotta do stuff to get them, and you gotta do stuff to use them, but not too much to get into that. Basically, they gotta be line of sight, and you know, you gotta pass a test. Some neat shields. If I knew more about elves, I could tell you about these. I'm pretty sure these are 3 different elf nations. Or this is like the tower. No, is this the Tower of Hoeth? Is this Safari? No, I don't know. I'm not an elf. But you know, this book is cool. And honestly, the Elves in Warhammer are pretty freaking dope. This is actually a really good section. I wish it was longer, if anything. Yo, what up? It's been a long wait, but it's finally here. A blink of an eye for an elf, but the guide emerges. This page basically is just, you know, the FAQ. It's on what it says on the tin. I like that you can use high magic with Warpstone, but basically you'll become a pariah. Oh yeah, I can't wait for the Foundry virtual tabletop, man. That's what I'm waiting on for Inquisitors. What is it? Imperial Maledictum, the Inquisitor's Handbook and Player's Guide and GM Guide. They're supposedly both out, but I don't know if you get both PDFs yet because only one of the PDFs is out. I want to make sure I'm getting both before I drop it. And definitely going to be looking into that. Man, dude. It takes them a while to get the Foundry stuff, but Tribes and Tribulations came up pretty quick, I guess. Like, all things considered. Mooman's got his team now, and they're doing a great job, in my opinion, for such a small team. Okay, so this is the other thing. Okay, so, let's see, where is it? This. Should the mage career get, like, robes, like human wizards? It's like, yeah, they get the bonuses. It's wizard robes, of course, but only to that wind. There is no one for Quaish. An elf wizard may, wear these. They'll only provide one to such a single one. But no single set of robes will help channel Quaish. Now, a normal sane person sees this. They say, okay, you can only do one set of robes at a time. The Airbud enjoyer in me says nothing in the rulebook says you can't. Like, okay, so in theory, right? What if you were, like, standing on a cart, and on that cart there were multiple poles, right? And each pole was set up with, like, the robes, like, draped, right? In a circle around you. Would that give you a bonus to channeling Quaish? That's what I want to know. Where's that question and answer? Put that in the book before the physical copies come out, please. Can we arrange an elaborate series of robes? Ugh. Yeah, you got 8 robes on. You're just the kid from A Christmas Story. Your arms are all puffed out, T-posing at the side. You can't even lift them up or put them down. You're just all puffed up. Some other questions and answers, basically, as you'd expect. It really is just like, no, you get only one bonus, or, you know, if you only get the bonus if you're casting that wind. It's impaired as normal. No arcane marks for elves. They're not cool enough. Cache power stones are potentially possible, but you gotta research them and experiment them. But that's still insane. And then, you know, we've got this girl and her pet, dragon, and that's pretty dope. I like the soul, what do you call them? The soul girdles that elves all seem to have. It's very aesthetic. Speaking of aesthetic, something very funny will make itself known very soon. And then, yeah, you know, there is a special staff for elves. That's basically what we've got there. Now, big spells. Well, this shit, I mean, okay, what do I even say here? Apotheus, super heal, and people are fucking afraid of them when you heal them. You can heal crits, or you can bring them back to life from the death. But they only are alive for your willpower bonus in minutes, and then they can never be revived again, which is sad. I was gonna use this to bring back a dead party member who doesn't want to come back, but now I'm thinking if I get corrupted enough, I might just make my magnum opus a Frankenstein monster of them to force them to have to. It's like a big meta joke, but no, probably won't do that, right? But it's funny to think about. This, you just basically kerplode somebody's armor if they're wearing it. You add up all their armor points, literally, on every location. And then you divide it by 2, and that's how much damage they take. And then you can also just, every SL that you get over that, you can just bust their armor more. Like, it actually destroys it. Because I guess this is Power Word Scrunch, if you think about it. It just crunches your body, and then it reforms the metal. That's how I'd imagine it. For the fact that it doesn't destroy it off the cuff. This is basically, I don't know, supersonic mode? Super Saiyan mode? You get flight. You get a pillar of light surrounding your body. And 5 armor points on all locations. You create a warp rift when you do this, which is insane. Why would you want to do this? Oh, you use, okay, so this is evil. This is evil. Okay. Got it. Why would they do this? Why do elves do these things? For a little bit more, you can make a magic portal instead. Jeez. This basically is kind of like the spell, almost what I was talking about before. Basically, you get re-rolls for shooters. You can make like a whole regimen. Basically, re-roll their, get the elven accuracy, right? To put it into Naval terms. Yeah, no, these are all, like, super freaking powerful. And, like, even with this, you can, like, choose the hit locations. Oh, they all get hit right in the dick. Yeah. It's just insane. You got 5, and one thing to notice, too, as we go through this, there's some, like, generic ones, but each one actually is indicative of a different color, if you really do look at it. Goldwind! Probably, like, Aesir, or honestly, also Goldwind. Whatchamacallit? Green magic. Obviously the light magic. Fire magic. Deadlock is just, like, anti-magic, so this one's more generic. This one and Drain Magic, I guess they've got different uses. Yeah, right? The 15,000 experience high elf. Well, so I imagine you'd all be playing like a high elf party To do what? I'm not sure. Maybe steal the Great Book of Grudges from the dwarves or something. I'm not sure. But something for sure. So this one, you basically, there's like anti-magic that does one spell or item, a persistent spell. It's negated temporarily. Weapons and armor still function as normal weapons and armor. You can also, like, you can cancel their draft pick on their spell. You can ban their pick by rendering one of their spells temporarily unusable, provided you are aware of their spell from a prior casting or have read the target's grimoire. I wonder if you could just guess, though. Like, oh, dude, I'm sure this guy has, you know, Tesla's Arc. I banned Tesla's Arc, you know? If he's, like, a blue wizard. Like, surely. But then he doesn't have it, and he hits you with, like, just blast. Parentheses. Azier. So, yeah, I'm not really too... So this one, it's expel... Let's see. Oh, shit, you actually create a vortex. That literally... Okay, you do a mini Ulthuan. I mean, honestly, if they wanted to have the fun, I could see like a pre-made setting with pre-made characters where you're just playing like important historical dudes. That could be cool. Like in big moments, right? Though I imagine that would be more like a few scenarios writ out to play. But I mean, it could be neat to explore that kind of stuff too. Anywho, so it seems basically that this one just focuses on spells, not really items. You can even do stuff with the gods. And then if you really get powerful, then you know, start taking away magic item powers. People with wards, they don't have ward no more. Whereas this one definitely seems to be more on, like, items. And, like, you can even take out a Waystone or an Ogham or a Herdstone. All this stuff. This is insane. Like, this really, like, the top tier where you're, like, bending the arcane web and everything like that, that seems crazy to me. Quite honestly. You know, we got some more spells here. This one. Honestly, it just lets you, Oh, shoot. Okay, yeah. So I didn't really read this one before, I'll be honest. This one, you basically, like, curse another caster. If they roll doubles, anything like that, it's a miscast, so they can't crit. And anytime they try to dispel, it just fails if they roll doubles, no matter what. So that's pretty freaking cool. You got Glamour of Teclis. You basically put them in the maze. I like how many maze spells are in the game. There's so many spells that literally, like, you are banished to the fucking maze of doom. You got Tzeentch's Crystalline Labyrinth. You've got the Death Wizard one. You've got this one. It's ridiculous. Frankly. But yeah. I mean, what else is there to say about that one? What is there really to say about Greater Banishment? Holy shit. I just read this. Demons destroyed by this spell cannot be summoned for 1,001 days. Okay? That's kind of cool, I guess. And we got like 3 years-ish. Not really. Dude, this is an insane buff. 3d10? I'm sorry, 3d10? 3d10? Let me just see here. Oh, yeah! Little halfling buddy! Don't worry! You can take on the Minotaur! I rolled a 1, a 2, and an 8. Okay, that halfling is not going to do very great. He only got a bonus of 11 to his weapon skill. He's probably going to die. But imagine if you got like a 30 on that! Or even the average of a 15. That's insane. What? You can increase the movement by 2. Sorry, I didn't mean to scream that loud. Let me lower my filter a bit. +6. What? And what? Dude! My character needs to befriend wait, my character knows a high elf. But they're not a wizard, but I'm gonna have to have a stern talking with them today about the benefits of high magic. No. My guy has no idea. Up until recently, my guy didn't even believe in magic. It's just a charlatan's parlor trick, surely. Let's see. That is insane. Heal. Remove all broken and fatigue. And immune to psychology. Oh, hey, look. My character may get addicted to getting a glory hand. The party may come down to the old glory hole and find me getting a glory hand. Invisible eye, basically. I mean, you know, it's what it says on the tin. You're an invisible eye. You can fucking fly around and see things. It's an invisible eye. Oh, okay. I guess so. You know, it's got a range limit, but it's still good for spying. Why would you not use the Shadow Wizard spell? Why would you not use that one? Maybe this is stronger, but it doesn't seem to be by any means. Anywho, you get a ward spell. Ward's freaking dope. Soul Quench, which is just a very strong missile, and range and target doubled. Damage is +11 if you do that, which is pretty crazy. So basically, this forces people into the afterlife. Like, it just forcefully banishes them to their afterlife. So you put this on a human, he goes directly to Moore's realm. I imagine. I'd hope. Hopefully not like the Elven afterlife. Can't manifest as a ghost. Their souls cannot be bound into ley lines, power stone, treekins, or anything like that. So it's pretty dangerous and messed up to cast on an elf. Look at that. Yin yang. Me when I grab my morning croissant. Fuck yeah! Just like I love that they're giving the horns. Just fucking crazy vortex magic. I mean, this one, it just goes. It just goes. It moves. And it moves very quickly, too. We got, let's see here. That one you just get ethereal for everybody. Okay, so that's the spells. That was a little chunkiness we just gotten through. I'm a fan of the high magic they've shown. I think it is very good and powerful. The GM guide will probably, let's be honest, add a few spells more. Maybe not. We'll have to see what dwarf GM guide adds. For reference, right? You got your thing here. You got all your stuff. You guys can look at that at your own leisure. But basically, it's fucking awesome. Here we've got all of the elves. They're just chilling, having their elfy time. Elf religion explained. You go down and then around. And then over. And then up around again. You got a whole breakdown on these guys. It's pretty cool. A little bit of some adventure hooks. Loex, kind of a cool guy. In my opinion. some stuff on all these. Authority, like, tries in vain to, like, fight against Slaanesh, but really, you know, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Elenil and the Elenili seem really freaking cool. Mathlan is one of them. So, like, he's literally like a god that fled to the mortal world, is the story, and they're not supposed to tread there. The fact that the Triton actually exists, I don't know, man. Like, it seems like it could be very legit, right? Um, they've got all of this stuff, so there's a few surviving ones. There's only 5 surviving ones. Mathland's one. This is another one. Here's another one. And here's another one. So that's 4 of them. Leaving a 5th for the DM to come up with, which is just so great, honestly. It's like the Primarch thing, in a way, you know? Is it time to snap back? No. Okay. So, you know, you got Smith Priest of Vol. You can actually be the blind boy going around forging stuff. It even says, like, well, why would you do this? But it explains. It explains. So they've got some cool stuff to make their magic enchanted. You know, you can divine things in fire. Everything you make, fine quality. And yeah, they just got some dope shit. You can actually make your forge like surrounded in fire, or make it so that you have the glittering robe spell at all times when you're in it. This strengthened doors is shit and terrible, and you should feel bad for making doors this week. Normally, if regular doors are less than this, that's wild. Because like a reinforced door should be like, I don't know, it should be more than that. It should take several slams for somebody to get in, right? That's what I would think. That said, though, all in all, pretty cool. And then you got the Storm Reaver, right? These guys are like naval wizards, which I think is really cool. This guy's name is Nut, which is just funny. And yeah, I mean, I think it's neat to have like sea spells and such. You've got neat meditative techniques. So elves like actually like have to like meditate and stuff now. Well, they don't have to, but they can. We'll get to that in a second. But you've got oh sorry, this isn't the page. And this is pretty much the same tenants, but a little less dumb as the human ones. You know, they're not randomized. I love that about the 2E tenants. I think 4E does it too, I'm not sure. Where you have like randomly the tenants change, just like Manon is fickle, right? So that's pretty funny. Oh, and then it even says you add 5 plus 1d10 to Manon's mood if you're on a sea ship, which is from the Sea of Claws. If you're in a good mood, which I should probably pause us here and go back real quick before we, well, we can look at the we can look at the spell that lets you become friends with the fish. You can't be a shark. Very lame. We'll really quickly just look at the last 2 magics, and then I'll explain what this Yen Louis is stuff. So Storm Sense, you know, storms, Ocean's Fury. I mean, dude, it just makes a storm. Wind Elemental from here, this is actually pretty great. It even drops their visibility, which is super good, so you can use them to kind of just like throw them like spike strips. You can armor your ship. You can call a fucking sea serpent. Give yourselves invisibility through fog, basically. This is more of like a personal version of it. Call a mermaid. Call one of the Mathlan's watery maidens. Ooh, so it could be a siren, a naiad, or a siren. Neat. Oh, no, it's just saying that those can be used for oceanids. Okay, so if you don't have this book, you can use these other books. I actually do like that a lot. I like that a lot, Cubicle 7. That's some like Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead, like, oh, you can't make it out of this? Use this. I like that. I like that. Breathing Water. Yep. Loremaster time. You got Techless, he's saying stuff. You got a university student and scholar saying, if you ever grow tired of always being the smartest person in the room, spend 5 minutes with one of the Loremasters, the Elven Embassy. They'll make you feel stupid all over again. Pretty good. Pretty good. Loremaster does only have 3 ranks, but they are powerful. So, you get immunity to corruption from spellcasting. Yeah. And you can even overcome the Yen and Louis states, which is just giving me the page thing for that, so I will... we'll be there soon. You got some tenants. You gotta... Basically, every time there's a research bonus that comes up, like, to research, you gotta go with that. Anytime there's, like, science or technology, you gotta go for that. You gotta prioritize those over, like, vassalage agreements. Things like that. No, basically, just brain max, you know? Don't destroy books. That's basically all it is. This is kind of silly. You got your standard fantasy, like, I touch the air and runes come out. So, that's what that is. I mean, he needs the right stuff, so it makes sense. I didn't read this guy's spells before. What the hell? This is fucked up. Dude, what the fuck? Animal testing. By elves. You give an animal the wisdom of a Hoeth. It gains 20 intelligence and willpower. It loses the bestial and skill. You give it... You give it intelligence, but that then expires in like 7 minutes. You gift a creature with like sapience, like the ability to like really like think and like communicate and understand, and then it just becomes dumb again. But it maybe retains a twinge of that. Not like that's so unethical. That is so fucking unethical. Why is that not a permanent spell? This is why wizards are assholes. Doesn't matter if they're humans, doesn't matter if they're elves. Wizards suck, dude. Holy shit. That's fucked. It's only 0 CN2. So you know they're just going around. Handing those out. God damn. Oh, where's my shotgun? Huh, I can't find it. Better summon 1,000 of them. Fully loaded and just leave them here. By this daycare. Oh, shoot. Okay, Greater Spirit Bond is kind of neat. I'm not really going to talk too much about Arcane Insight. It's not too interesting. That's cool, though. For the animal familiars and whatnot, you can increase that to miles long. So that's insane. I have a player who would love something like that, I'm sure, but you're not an elf. Making worms sentient just so they can suffer their own existence. Oh my god. Invade Ulthuan today. I'm gathering a party. This is an Avengers level threat. In 2502, elves repeatedly used Enlightenment. To make worms suffer their own existence. That's terror. Fucking A. It really is just like, this is the nerd class. I will enlighten them. I have a writing here. I can learn everything about the thing. Actually, I can talk to my animal anywhere, and they're super smart. And actually, I have a lightsaber. Oh no. Oh no, I think we've stumbled onto something here. I think we've stumbled onto something here. Mnemonic control. Wait, this is just the mind meld. This is we got the lightsaber, the mind meld. We're hitting every single every one of them. Brother, Kreld. You can't just say that when I've got water in my mouth, man. Holy shit. That's true. I guess elves have no question or qualm about such things. Yeah, you might be right, but I don't know, man. Is it worth it? Is it morally worth it? So, let's see. So, okay, so this line is here is basically stopping, well, helping GMs who are unable themselves to stop players from basically abusing this. Oh, yeah, I'm just gonna dip into his mind. What has he got in there? You have to know what you're looking for. Well, if the elves are so great at killing demons and all, why are there still demons? Checkmate. You got sending, you got their sacred wards, rather. Whoa, you can make people just, wow, cool. Elves just make people, forget things. Just memory loss now. They're raising up intelligence, they're wiping minds, they're mind melding. I don't know, surveillance state? Ministry of Truth Elffulness? Starting to notice a pattern here. I'm just saying. And this is really the tell-all. They want Elthuan to be pure. They don't want us there. Now, this is pretty cool, honestly. This is pretty cool. No lies can be spoken. That's nice. The worms. They know nothing of the tunnels. We built the tunnels. The worms call and we answer. Soulcraft! This seems very ethical. Gosh, I wonder what the elf will be doing with the spell called Soulcraft. Ah, you bind a ghost into a waystone or a ley line. People who have died in the last hour can have their ghost bound into a vessel before they depart for the spirit realm. Ah, so you can put it into a soul gem. Neat. Or so they claim. Yeah, whatever. This is elf lies. Just kidding. And basically, if you don't want to, you can oppose it with your cool. So, even if I tried to get an elf to force the player to have his dead character have his spirit brought back, he could roll cool against it. Yeah, you could bind someone's soul into that, maybe. I'm sure it'd be highly unethical, and it might get you censored at the college. Like, you'd really you need to be like Gelt, not Gelt, but you need to be a wizard of some reputation, I think, to get away with that. Because I think most people would have a problem with that. I don't know though. Maybe there's examples that say otherwise in the lore, but I feel like people would have an immense problem with taking like a friendly soul or something like that and putting it into like your familiar. I don't know. No, I know about the vortex. I know elves are very useful and helpful. They're cool, honestly. Jokes aside, the Warhammer elves are very cool, and they have a distinct aesthetic, which I've heard is it the old world or is it this book? One of the two. We'll look at the art and we'll tell. But one of the two has done away with the iconic scale armor skirts in at least one of the depictions. So here, pleasure cults. I'm not gonna like delve on this too much. The only thing that's cool to know about this mechanically, when you do a dark deal as an elf, chances are it's gonna be Slaanesh. So if it's about like art, vice, seduction, etc., you get actually a bonus on that reroll. But then that night you're visited by Slaanesh in your dreams, and you get corrupted again. You can beseech a Tarty. She's basically like the Daedra of seduction. Like that's how to think of this, I guess, in an easy way. It's the Cinerathi, right? They're like the underworld gods compared to like the Kadai, which are like the heavens gods. So she's not like a chaos god, but she's like a dark god of the pantheon, of the elf pantheon. She's like the one of seduction and love and beauty and cum and piss and whatever the hell. And she struggles against Slaanesh, but basically a lot of the times people trick worshippers of her into worshipping Slaanesh. But you can pray against her, and it can maybe negate some corruption gained with association with her. I actually do like, in the player section a bit back, it does talk about how you should kind of view your character. Like, you don't have to just be a snobby, arrogant dick. There's a lot of ways to maintain, like, to not maintain. There's a lot of ways to demonstrate that, like, sort of, like, etherealness that, like, oh, you're like a dog to me. And that's what I was thinking about at work, actually. Like, okay, picture this, right? If a human is to an elf like what a dog is to a human, right? Like, oh, they're fun. You may love your dog, but your dog's gonna, a dog is not a human. A dog is not going to live as long as you. On some level, there's always going to be an imbalance, right? Like, there's like a disconnect of like, you are like lesser, frankly. Like a dog is a dog, right? Imagine if dogs had a society. We can't understand it, but dogs, your dog would go out and bah, 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 and they get together and they build things. You'd be like, okay, that's kind of wary. It's kind of cool though, but like I'm glad that dogs are loyal and they love humans. Now let's talk about like what if dogs didn't have that like genetic predisposition to like love humans, right? You just have random animals that can build things that live very short periods of time. You'd be wary too, Omni-Man's speech. Think, Mark, think! Look what these humans have to do to copy a fraction of our power! Shows like Warpstone. But, like, what I'm getting at that with is, like, it sounds so bad now. All I'm saying is you'd view it differently. But it doesn't necessarily mean you disdain them. It doesn't necessarily mean you'd, like, hate them or anything like that. It can manifest in a lot of ways. That's what it meant to maintain. Anyway, going to Kane. Let's go to Kane. You can get use of resolve and combat from him, which, if you'll remember, lets you ignore critical wounds and psychology. Pretty good. I can definitely see why Kane would allow that, because then you can like keep fighting even after you get super fucked up. Yeah, and you get Frenzy. Frenzy could be cool. A lot of stuff about Kane and the Sword of Kane. Now we got Intrigue. That's the end of the book. But we're actually going to go back because we skipped a bunch of stuff, like the Yen Louis stuff. But, yeah, let's jump around a bit. So, back to this. So, we basically went from high magic all the way through there, all the way through religion. This is what I like to read when I see books. I like to look at, like, okay, what are the new things we can buy, right? Also, it talks about, is this Australia? Because I saw a model of an elf on a kangaroo. I don't know what it's from, but it said, like, Eleanor or something like that. Elf. I don't know. Did they do Australia? Is Australia in? Like, I don't know. But, oh yeah, I needed to go down. Okay, so, basically, here, every elf market, durable and fine quality on their stuff. Bunch of other rules there. You got this human trying to, like, do their best to sell them things. And, you can see how disdainful these elves are. I mean, there's not even, like, disdain. It's, like almost like an apathetic disgust, you know? Very good. We got basic stuff here, but these are elf swords, elf daggers, elf shields, elf lances, elf halberds, etc. Stupid sentient dog wants to sell me a toy. Yeah, seriously. Look at him. Got their attendance. You can see he's an animal. You do have the Great Sword of Hoeth, which is pretty good, and a Great Axe, which is pretty decent. I would have thought maybe it's the skill, not the blade itself. I would have assumed something more with the elf weapons, differentiate them a bit. I don't know, but I guess not. As for the armor, you got Ithelmar. As you can see, it is very, very light. Nothing giving anything more than 2 AP. This is one thing I'm not a big fan of in 2E, or sorry, 4E. But there is something cool on this page. So not only is there Ithelmar, not only is there dragon armor, which is super cool, and like basically you can take a splash of lava, not swim in it. Like you could, like you're very resistant to any fire or anything like that. Like it's really cool if you're wearing a full suit. 10,000 gold. White lion hide. So now there's a new armor slot. Cloaks. So you can now have cloaks. And basically my GM says if you skin an animal and it has an armor value or a hide rating of at least 2, you can turn it into armor. And I think that's reasonable. So yeah, white lion cloak. You can wear this over your torso, over your body. It's fine. It don't matter. Let me get the receipts on that. It doesn't say that, but if it wasn't true, it'd be really stupid. Right? It'd be really, really dumb. So clearly that's surely what they intended. Yeah, dude, one of my fellow players in the game I'm a player in, he skinned a rock troll. And, the because at that time the GM ruled he couldn't like double up on the body armor. This is the same GM who's now saying without the receipts here that you can, so I don't know what changed there, but I love it. Good job. Thank you, Gorfang. So yeah, I guess we're gonna I can't imagine how much that would weigh though. Wouldn't that'd be like encumbrance 4 from a rock troll? I feel like it'd be like encumbrance 3 or 4. Anywho, Ithelmar helmets, you can't wear them if you're not an elf who like served with specific people. So it's like stolen valor and they'll kill you over it. Combs, elves love combs. They love combs. Yeah, you basically cannot buy dragon armor. That is just like its relative value. Most of this Ithelmar stuff you cannot buy. Most of the elf stuff is not for sale. Here is like a reworking of the prices and availability for the herbs and those products when you're in Ulthuan. So it's not really that different, and I feel like they could have added a lot more than just these 4. Maybe the GM guy will add a lot more. I hope it does. Because really, like, there should be a lot more on these pages, like elf stuff. Like, really. I like what's here. And now, Willona, if you're still here, it's time for the body horror. So, check this out. So, okay, AC stacking I'll talk about in a second. Just remind me. We gotta talk about this, because this is fucked up. During the reign of Carandriel, Avon Thornchanter was transformed into a Nerinocha plant while attempting to harness the winds of Gyran. 750 years later, Alaesir Greydon dispelled the magic holding Avon in plant form. The pair used their combined learning to produce a wine fermented from Nerinocha pods that proved popular in the courts of Ulthuan. It is one of several wines that elves enjoy that instead induce feelings of relaxation and vivid visions. So, this dude accidentally himself into a plant, spent almost a millennium, 3/4 of a millennium as a plant. And then when somebody finally found him and finally freed him, he was like, brother, thank you for freeing me. Look, you have good magic, but guess what? I just spent a millennium as a plant. I know what they want. I know what plants crave. And we can make the best damn wine there is. And he was like, okay. Okay. What the fuck? I don't know if this is because they're wizards or because they're elves. Frankly, I'm at a loss. I don't even know what to say about that. It's so fucked up, the body horror on that. And there's like a little bit of like disgustingness because he was one of those plants. I don't know. I can't explain it. Like a primal part of my brain sees it as like slime. I don't know. Like it must be destroyed. It's very, very. I don't even know. Anywho, there's some other stuff. Stuff to protect against diseases. This stuff you basically cannot be like messed up. These enchanted items are actually really cool. This one lets you see like concentrations of winds of magic in a large area, I would imagine. Because otherwise I don't understand what the point of second sight is. Flamespire Phoenixes, these will burn at the thing of a lantern for a whole year. And you can set things on fire with them. Like you could with a torch. So, pretty damn useful, that. Frostheart Phoenix, I didn't even know these were a thing in fantasy. This is like a refrigeration. So for like a whole year, it remains freezing cold. Mages, adventurers, and members of cults of pleasure prize phoenix feathers, though how to safely transport them is a problem left to the buyer. I think I'm going to definitely include one of these for the ice wizard in my party at some point. That's actually cool as hell. Medieval refrigeration. That tickles my autism. Let's see here. I think this is the yeah. So this is cool. This, if you get like evil magic cast on you, this spell, this staff gives you resistance 3 against it. So it's pretty good. What I would do is I would make my mage's staff that summons Keish out of Night Elm. Right? Like that just would, but maybe there's a reason you can't. Let's see here. It's just strong ass wood, durable for. I really don't understand the point of durability. It's basically a meme. Like, not enough damages your armor in the, or your weapons in this game, and only axes really damage your armor. And I don't know, it's just things don't seem to have enough HP. That's my opinion, at least. You got way shards, and that's, you know, shards of waystones. Anywho, last thing here, I think, in the equipment variety, we got talk of this stuff. More ships. So I think there's already 3 ships in another book. Now we've got 5 more. And look at this. 11 and 12, because elves go even fucking faster than humans. Now, I would say for print, what you guys should do, Cubicle 7, you should understand players are going to have, like, they're going to build a dragon ship that has the streamlined hull and the flying jib. You need to expand this table to, like, movement 15, because there's magic and other stuff. And you just got to, okay? You have to. Because I don't want to do the math, and neither does any other player, so it has to be you guys. You have to do it. Dwarves did get, oh my god, Kreld, dwarves did not just get boats, they got submarines, they got, like, 5 kinds of gyrocopters. Dwarves got a lot, man. Dwarves got a lot. Oh, dwarves, I was very happy with the dwarves book. I've got a stream of it just like this, on my channel here. Eventually, I'm going to make, like, a very concise, like, 10, 15-minute long just review on all these books, but I've been so fucking busy lately, and so just randomly sick all the time, non-stop, most recently with bronchitis. It's wearing me down, but I'm just trying to persevere. But anyway, enough about that. Yeah, non-humans are eating good, real good. I would love a halfling player guide. They need some love. But right now I'm loving the dwarf and the elves. And then down here. Oh, it does also talk about, you know, they still trade, but it's usually the pragmatic of their species trade with the dwarves and the elves with each other. This is the cool part, too. Merchant ships. We've got merchant ships now. So 700 carries, right, compared to 600 on the dragon ship. And you're like, oh, well, it's not really that much more, but you can have expanded holds and stuff like that. You can make it bigger. Ah, thank you, Kreld. That means a lot to hear. I always love hearing people say stuff like that. It's what helps me push through and keep on. Think there's some stuff on the dragons? No. What? You would think they'd have some stuff on the dragons, but maybe that's for the GM's guide. Alright, so High Elf characters. This is basically the last section of the book that we're going to be looking at. This one has some pretty neat stuff. So right off the bat, beyond the stereotype. You can easily be the proud snob who treats all non-elves as little better than savages. You can use your superior skills and characteristics to smooth the path for the whole party. But after a while, it might lose its charm, especially for the other players. Basically, it's saying consider your attitude towards the younger races carefully. You know, they pride themselves on maintaining decorum. Treating others with respect, even when provoked, is a sign of undoubted superiority, right? You won't sink to their level. You know in their heart that their companions are inferior, but this doesn't mean that it needs to manifest as overt disdain. And so it sort of goes on about that a bit and gives some suggestions and whatnot. And then it talks about like how their mental state needs to be balanced in this thing called Genlui. And then basically, oh, okay. So there's some rules as well with like high elf to high elf charming there, but Yunlui, which we're gonna focus on here, basically spiritual balance. You know, Surion has that Cain in him, and then you know we have that Isha as well. So you know, you have to balance that. That if I remember correctly, it's because like Asurion, like basically they'd be immortal, and Asurion was like, no, eventually they'll get old or be sad, and so basically as you do stuff, as you guys have probably been reading, as I've been yapping here, if you do stuff, you move towards the dark or move towards the light, and then literally inside of me are two elves. The nicest elf you'll ever meet, and a twisted fucking alphapath. Like, you can't make this shit up. It's literally the meme. So that's kind of neat. This is what it was. This is one of the things. So that's the guy who doesn't like color magic. He also doesn't like that the non-human species, like playable characters, don't really feel alien in a way. And there's like a fan splat from first edition, which he's like a huge fan of. That and I'm not casting judgment, but it gives some ideas on certain things, but it's a little too out there, in my opinion, right? This I think is a good like step towards that and reconciling like old and new. So I would hope that he enjoys this addition to their psychology, because it really does make them different from humans. You know, if you're too much in the light, you're gonna be jaded, fatalistic, aloof, insensitive, all that stuff that elves are just known for. Because if you have to tend towards one or the other, they're gonna tend towards the light, even though they should keep themselves in balance. My problem with the book, as far as I have read, I have not seen anything. Please, if somebody sees otherwise, let me know in the comments or in the chat right here. There doesn't really appear to be any benefit to being in the Dark Yenlui at all for a high elf. At all in this book. The only thing it does is make things harder in like every regard. So I don't know why people like as players would really struggle with that. But it is what it is, I guess. I would like to see maybe in the GN's Guide, or maybe before this goes to print, this get updated, patched. They do a good job of patching their books. They really do. They should honestly, though, put a thing on their website. Cubicle 7 needs to do this. When you patch your PDFs, you should have a page on your site. Call it errata or something. Call it updates or book patches. Whatever you need to call it. And then you just sort by game line or whatever, and maybe do like like last updated or most recent or alphabetical, like just a couple of options like that. And then you just have each PDF and you list the date right there in the thumbnail view of, like, 4 rows or whatever of all of them, the last time it's been updated. So that people can just see, oh, do I have the most recent version? Very easily and very quickly. Because right now, outside of having it on Foundry, I don't know if there's a way to really know when it's, like, changed. So, I don't know. Anywho, obsessions. Elves have autism. It's true. And basically, instead of a long-term ambition, you can have an obsession. And so, what this basically means is that you get a lot of fucking benefits when you're trying to do a thing, but you also get a lot of negatives. So, there's all sorts of, like, obsessions. For example, see sites no other elf has seen by traveling to distant lands. Alternatively, to see that Ulthuan does not risk its people or its treasure in attempts to build alliances with humans or, Asurion forbid, dwarfs. So it's all sorts of different things, these are just examples, obviously. But it's basically kind of what it is. So it basically, it's just kind of like forcing more of a character into that line, and they have to, take bonuses or negatives to follow or oppose it. Dreaming, basically, you have a foretelling, and then at some point the GM's gonna be like, the dream has come to pass. And during this, you get a +1 to, like, do things, because it's been foretold many moon ago. And that's, I guess, kind of neat. I think it's interesting, especially since, like, sometimes, like, the dream might not come to pass, but there's variety of example dreams as well. I guess, I don't know. I would say I wish this would be a little bit more fleshed out. Just because... Okay, so, like, once... Like, it's basically, like, that's not in character. My character wouldn't do that. And then the GM... Basically, if they agree, they're like, alright, then you don't get affected by that psychology. And that's really all it is. So... Debatable usefulness, I suppose. Like the example here is they have an obsession to see the Dark Elves vanquished. A Dark Elf intimidates them. That's coming to this would run counter to their obsession, so there's no need to test. It does not cause fear instead. So that's, like, kind of a good benefit, I guess, but again, it's like, I don't know, I just feel like it can be extremely situational and abusable, but maybe that's how it should be because they're elves. And it's like, well, of course, I'm an elf. I don't know. This shit, you basically get to make a super soldier. I don't know what else to really say here. Like, you can, as an option, have the blood of an Aryan in you, and you're, like, absolutely cracked as fuck, but you also have, like, a fucking mental corruption. And it's bad. Oh, shit. I do like that they say, like, they can choose with a 5% chance. Like, really saying, like, there's no choice. Like, this is a random roll. There's a random roll here. And then it's begrudgingly saying, if you absolutely have to be super duper special, you can determine it with your GM. And read between the lines there a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of neat. Like Longbeards, you can have an elf elder, and then they get bonuses based on how many of these ages they live through. So right now we're in the time of ending, where that was the time of steel. Before that the time of incursion, and before that the time of voyages. Before that, the time of the sage, time of the shadows. It's pretty neat. Pretty interesting. A lot of different things for each of them. You can even begin with 5 corruption points, which is insane, and it's very scary to play with an elf with that many corruption. Prejudiced humans, actually somehow less scary than, like, you know, having the corruption. Let's see here. Oh, and then it even tells you how to prioritize certain, like, mechanics, which is neat. Tells you a little bit about each of the little places and, you know, starting profiles for each of them. It's, kind of neat. Got all sorts of places. It even, and it even reconciles Sea Elves from 1st edition and their lingering amount in 2nd edition. So, they're called the Urani, which is just a bad name. Urine. Anyway, no, so they've still got the armored scales, so maybe it was in an old world thing, the latest old world thing. They don't. Okay, so, you know, reconciling that, playing as one, it's not really that different. Basically, you're just not from Elthawon, and people are not cool with that. Does talk about some of the elf enclaves. I don't know why it doesn't say Elf Town, but there you go. Because I'm pretty sure that's what it's called in Marienburg, right? Elf Town. Erengrad, Magrita, Brion, Lucini, Al-Haik. More or less what you would expect. This is already, like, known lore. I don't know how much of the rest of these are. I think Brion's is. They simply did not have the technology for scales back in the 2300. True. Very sad. That's funny. I'm cautious about it. I'm very cautious about it, especially with the fact that they determined to make an old world RPG. Why? Why Cubicle 7? Isn't it enough? How many game lines do you need? You have the Broken Weave. You have the hardwood cabinet or whatever the hell it's called. You have that other thing in 5th edition. You have your own setting that you guys have. You have that, like, other space thing. You have Warhammer Fantasy. You have Wrath and Glory. You have Imperial Maledictum. And now you're adding another game line? Why? Isn't enough? I can't help but notice. I wanted to make a big video on this, or at least a mini video on this. I can't help but notice that the year to 2024, the year that was supposed to be the year of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition, only had like 2-3 books come out. Now, granted, one was a really huge book, but still, what the hell, man? I think it's because they took on too much. And they're doing, like, all this restructuring or whatever. That's my thought. That's my completely uninformed, schizophrenic, it was revealed to me in a dream reason that happened. I'm hoping 2025 will be better. I'm hoping we'll see more books this year. I'm hoping we'll see a lot of books this year. But I suppose we will see. At the end of the day, I'm just grateful to have any books. I'm happy to support this hobby and get these books because, quite frankly, I mean, it is good stuff. In an age of slop, this stuff is not so bad. It's pretty good. You know? And I don't know. I just wish there was more. Yeah, and that's the thing, Imperial Maledict, I really want to leap head first into that. Instead, I'm slamming my head against concrete. We do have a career table, which is nice for elves. Always good. And it even talks about, like, oh, you know, like, what the hell would a elf villager be like, you know? Not only that, coming back up a little bit, you know, you've got all sorts of things. It's kind of like Lustria, right? This is like how you can adapt the various things to make sense for these peoples. Um, of note, elves don't need the magic license, and they find it amusing or offensive to need a license to cast magic. Nobles are insanely insane. There's a whole thing about you can't even touch them. No stolen valor, family sword, and a noble does not serve. So, pretty elf-ified there. Some bits on. Oh, so you're thinking actually increase your standing or lower it. So like if you're a warden, you get an additional standing with other elves, and same with like entertainer because Loak and cultural, etc., etc. Variants for things here. One thing that's funny, so basically, although like elf farmers are having humble times, all songs and stuff like that celebrate them as honest folk who know their place. And even though it's a bit more romanticized, it's generally true. It's like a sacred duty to them, rather than just agriculture. But for humans, when they see this, they see the elf peasants, quote unquote, the farmers. They look just as healthy and perfect and immaculate and happy as other high elves. It unsettles them. Like what? Why are they? You should be like a peasant. You should. What the hell, man? And then it's like, oh shit, are we doing something wrong? It's it's funny. It's good. You got all sorts of silly stuff here. Outlaws, not really a thing too much. Lots of protagonists though. You got your Sea Guard, which is it's about as it is. Not really too much to write about there. They're kind of interesting, but really like a marine sort of class, but for elves. Going down, you got the Swordmaster, which these guys you're gonna see is actually really cool. So check this out. Secret War, blah blah blah, Way of the Warrior. Check this out. Martial arts. Finally, unarmed attacks lose undamaging, and then each subsequent level you can use one of the following qualities unarmed: damaging, defensive, distract, fast, penetrating, precise, pummel. That's insane. I'm gonna be a monk now, finally. Sword dancing. You gotta do sword dances. So there's all of these things, which are pretty crazy. Basically, you just you kind of chill. This one changes your Yenlui, is all it does. And you can throw your sword, and for a second I thought this was gonna be so stupid it'd fly back to you or something like a boomerang. But no, you throw it well that it doesn't fuck up. And then yeah, just I don't know, the inspirational ones, it's okay, whatever. Oh my god, you just get basically penetrating or ignore 1 AP for as much weapon skill bonus as you have. I do like that they have weapon skill bonus being a thing. That should be used more. There should be these techniques more. Humans should have some techniques. I think there should be more in general. This is the funny one. I am the storm that is approaching. Basically, this is the deflect bullets with your blade. You can literally cleave a cannon. All missile attacks. All missile attacks. Oh. Fuck. Just fucking threw my fork, basically. Alright. So, yeah, you could even do a cannon shot. Just cut that in half. Playing a ranged Swordmaster does nothing but throw swords. That'd be good. Anime Jesus Christ. Yeah, pretty much. It pretty much is. And speaking of that, Path of the Rain, like, so, it's like the Toho meme. You're just sidestepping, twisting, and it helps you dodge. Each SL gives you an SL to dodge, which is actually insane. Actually insane. If you thought that was anime, just wait. This is literally the DBZ, like, after image shit. You can move shadow fast. You appear blurred and unsubstantial to the naked eye. You appear up to SL times your movement in yards away to a minimum of 5 yards. Literally teleports behind you. Nothing personnel kid unsheaths katana. Any enemies you are engaged with, this is the crazy part, before you use this technique, must pass a challenging initiative test or gain surprised. Literally Nani? He's fast! Like, it's so dumb, but it's good. You swing your sword so fast it whistles that it hurts people's brains, and deafens them. What the fuck? It actually does 10 plus SL damage, ignoring armor but not toughness. So you can just swing your blade, not even at them. Not even at them. And you just blow up their skull. Targets slain by this technique crumple to the ground with blood oozing from their ears. What the fuck? And that's only SL3. For them to do this. This is what I'm talking about. An elf is going to have like 130 weapon skill. Like melee basic. Yeah, right? Right? I mean, they are elves, to be fair, but also, I mean, it is a little silly, but they are elves, and this is like the Swordmaster, right, of Hoeth. Right, like, so it's not just anybody. These guys have, like, trained for centuries. I mean, that just adds to the edgehog to it, if I'm being honest. But, yeah, it's bad, but it's not that bad. I don't know. I can tolerate it like a little brother, It's like, you still gotta love them. And on some level, it is a little cool. You can attack everybody who's engaged with you. And, this, wait. I don't know, I think this is just like a power attack. Pretty much. Shadow Warrior, this is with, Aelith Anar. These guys, they just kill Dark Elves. What they basically do. Merchant Adventurer. This is probably what most player characters are, I feel like, gonna be. Sea monster hunting, adventure hooks. Now, here's the aestheticist. Aesthetics are important in elf society. She's got a bunch of combs in her hair. 2, I think. Or maybe that's just 1 and I'm a dummy. I don't know. But, basically, unironically, a cultural paragon. You just do elf stuff. You keep other people in their yen lui. You help them there with that. Yeah. Yeah. There's not even a special talent to help with that. It just says you're supposed to help them with it. So maybe they could add a few things. Maybe a few more talents. Maybe they could add a few more pieces of equipment. That would be my thought. As we look now, we have seen the whole book, pretty much. That would be my thought, is add a bit more equipment, please. Strange elf items and other stuff is good, but just in general, like a variety of elven goods or things like that. Maybe even some elf endeavors for the players. I don't think dwarves got endeavors, so maybe that's not fair. But maybe a couple more talents. Dwarves got a lot of talents. I'm not seeing a lot of talents here. I'm seeing a bunch, but not as many as there could be. New ones. Though I guess all these rituals and things like that are sort of that in a way. I don't know. Overall, I'd give this book 9, 9.3, 9.2 out of 10. That'd be my opinion, I think. Be very excited to see what everybody else has to say about it in the comments and everything like that. And that is true. Elves do less endeavors. But I would have liked to seen like at least a few for them. And dwarves. Oh, we never went and looked at Intrigue, did we? Basically, Intrigue is like social combat for elves. You got a few factions on Ulthuan if you wanted to play there. It also encourages you to make other ones. It talks about in Altdorf and other places their influence, as it were. Various factions at play. You got Imric, you got Tyrion. You've even got elves who literally are just doing things unironically for the lulz, quote unquote. And yeah, so there's rules. You can try to leverage people over time, and so as you try to advance an agenda, basically you say like, I want them to carry my cookies in their thing. So then you're like, okay, well, it can start with talking about how good your cookies are around like one of their lower employees when they're on a break, and then like I don't know, you go from there, and you get leverage, and you do these things, and you basically like it even has a table. Like, oh, this person wants inspiration, so okay, so then maybe you can use like leadership and you can glean that from them, right? And then eventually they just kind of accept what you want to do or move towards that and make it easier. It has a whole thing on that. And it basically also tells you to like not make too many tests. Like, here's what you should be doing. It shouldn't be like that crazy. And I like that. I like things that like stop overbearance, though I would always prefer that it's like a light-handed touch. I think a light touch is always best in these things than a heavy hand. But that's pretty much it. Like, you got a couple complications here, but that is legitimately it. And they are calling me out for still not putting out the Lustria review. It's a good book, Lustria. No, I'll do a proper review. Life has been absolutely crazy. I'm hoping with the next video, my homebrew hoedown, things might get a little easier for me, just in general with work and with some personal stuff. And then hopefully, I don't even want to say anything about sickness because every time I talk about it, I get sick again. And then I might be ramping up a Patreon, so maybe that might help things. I don't know, but I would like to like do art and 3D models for like virtual tabletop roleplay and like make battle mats and such like that. But we'll see. That and like homebrew. I've got a lot of homebrew to offload. So much homebrew. Part of that is going to be kind of displayed in the homebrew hoedown. I know Marienburg's coming. Dwarf and Elf. Player's Guide, obviously. I think a Nagaroth book was teased. Let me think. What else? There's a. I think there's a big book. What was it? Oh, there's a few more adventure books. That's right. I think Death Steps and Light Hands was really good. I think they're gonna have another. That's at some point they're gonna have a book that gives Shalia and Verena more, and who else? Because there's only a few gods they haven't done at this point, and those gods still need books where they get priests, and they're doing basically like a single book will have like a single priest or several. In the case of Myrmidia or Ranald. So I imagine we're probably gonna get a religion themed book. I can't imagine which one it'll be. You know, Kreld, I appreciate that. Sometimes I put a lot of pressure on myself, but it really is at the end of the day like a hobby. And I do it to have fun, but it's frustrating when I can't make these videos. Like, I don't know. When everything gets in the way, when I can't find the motivation, when I don't have the time, I don't know. I do feel like I'm letting people down. I feel like I'm letting myself down more than anything. I guess I shouldn't feel like I let other people down. Because, like you said, it's not my responsibility or nothing. But I do, I don't know. I do feel like I let myself down sometimes. But enough sad talk of that. Soon we'll have a few more videos. And we'll have a few more books. We'll have a few more things. And I think it's going to be good. Sobble, I'm probably going to start playing that again soon too. But yeah. I think this book was good. I'm very happy with this overall. Like I am with the dwarf book. Is it perfect? No. But in life, what is perfect, really? Not much, if anything. Sun Tzu said you gotta fight with the armies you have, not the armies you wish you had. Or maybe that was Warwick Davis. I'm not quite sure. But regardless, I'm very eager to see the GM's guide for both of these things. I'm hoping they add a bit more. I'm just like my only frame of reference is D&D, so I can't really think what might they add other than just a series of adventures. But surely not. Surely not, right? Oh man, I just know, Titus, my younger self, these kinds of books, I mean, I would spend hours on the couch, on my bed, just laying down on my belly, book opened up, D&D 3.5 manual, various splat books, and I would just spend hours reading those things. So I agree with you. I think my younger self would love a book like this. Just imagining all the things, looking at all the pictures, and imagining that world. Oh, is that a multi-page spread? I think that's a multi-page spread. Let's see if we... Isn't there a way that you can... I don't know how to do it in this. But yeah. I'm not sure. I am looking forward, though, to the Marienburg book. Apparently, that's coming out at the end of the year. I'm stoked. I've got Marienburg stuff to do in my campaign. So, there's that. Also, just as a small side project, I am making a 3D model of the town of Furlongen in Ostland. And, I've got a lot of lore I've written on it. So I might be like bundling all of that together in like a fan splat city book, but that is way down the road. For me to compile. That's like a very much a thing I'm doing as a hobby in my spare time, not as a priority. But I am very excited to share it with you guys when it comes time. There's also there's another thing. Let me save this and let me show you guys something. Oh, that's weird that it actually affected the thing there. Let's put this desk.blend. Save. Okay, open. I posted a little bit of this in my Discord, but let's see here. Howdy, Dakjen. The book is good. I give it a 9.3 out of 10. We'll settle on that. We'll say 9.3 is where I settle on it. Let's see. Can I do it like this? Yeah, perfect. Okay. So, Let me go ahead and ooh, I know what I'm gonna do. I know exactly how I'm gonna show you guys this. Okay, hold on. Okay, so you guys are familiar with this. Many of you, at least. This is my, like, please stand by, like I'm getting water or I'm peeing or, you know, we're winding down the stream, right? This is my little thing. I got this commissioned a while ago. But now what I've been working on when I get a little bit of spare time. So we'll go ahead, do this. And so, as you guys can see, we've got a nice little thing here. And it's even got, you gotta let the physics calm down a little bit here. But, oh, the bubbling's a little mess. I want to change the water effect there because I don't like it. But that was like a temporary placeholder one. I'm very happy with the fire, though. And, just slowly getting things together on this. And we've got some fun books here, you know. Whoop. All sorts of good stuff. Games Workshop, copyright incantations, book on cults, Dungeons the Dragoning, Thai cuisine, and its many mysteries. And, oh, best of all, Power Walking, the Forgotten Sin. We'll put that guy back. But, yes. So, just got my thumbs in a lot of pies right now. Yo! Southern Realms book. That, you are speaking, to my very heart. You're speaking to my very heart with that one. I would love a Nostalgia and Talea book. They already kind of did talk about Talea a lot in, Up in Arms. Not a crazy amount, but they've got like 30 pages, I want to say. Something like that. Might be a little less, might be a little more. But they got a decent amount. But I love just anything about any other country in Warhammer. Because they're so mysterious. But then I wonder, will that ruin the mystery? But I don't think so. I need to get my schizophrenic Kislev video out on the true history of Kislev before the old world writes some shit that counters it. Because there's some if you read between the lines, there's a lot of really interesting like plot threads. I want to say there is one. Yeah, there is. There's a knight, like Lord Adelbert or something like that. I think he's literally Don Quixote, but he's not a Stalion. He's Reiklander. I think he's an Ubersreicher. But yeah, no, I mean, Estalia just seems so interesting in general. They've got a little bit of history, and what is written just seems so freaking cool. Yeah, no, I would love to. And I mean, I'm playing an engineer, or was. Is he dead? Is he alive? And I just love like all the stuff with Talea is right up that alley. We've got an Stallion in our Lustria campaign. He's a cool guy. He's a stevedore, and he brought his family with him. The fool. It's actually funny. He's playing a stevedore, but his character's sister is a priest of Myrmidia, so ostensibly his character's sister is much more powerful than his actual character. But yeah. I mean, honestly, we're all thinking it. A Cathay book I would like to see. I think the thing I would like most to see with Cathay, other than just a mass fleshing out of the area and Australia, like just mention Australia, somehow. Um, I would like them to not go kitty gloves on it. Cause look, can we talk for a second, chat? With the globalization of the world and all of this, yes, new markets, more money, all of this stuff, of course. That's why I knew Cathay was going to become a thing to begin with, before it even got released into the Total War Warhammer. I knew it was coming because of the money. I knew Games Workshop is greedy. And there's no way they're going to let go of a market like that many people, right? China has a lot of people. It's a huge market to jump on. And so, obviously, when you're dealing with that, like, we've seen this in other things. A lot of times people will kind of go kid gloves on China representing nations in fantasy, in sci-fi, so as not to anger China or Chinese people in real life. And I get that. You obviously don't want to offend people, sure, whatever. Don't want to cause an international incident like White Wolf did, certainly. But they need to be able to be evil and have like evil factions as well. Like, they need to have a Marius Lightdorf. They need to have, this, that, or the other. It can't just all be super sunshine, because the Empire's not super sunshine, Talea's not super sunshine, Bretonia's not super sunshine. It needs to have that grit. And I haven't played too much of them in Total War, but it definitely does seem like there's a little bit of grit, but I don't know, it does seem like they're cleaner than the rest of the places, and the way that some of the books talk about Cathay compared to other nations is very much glazing, and very little, if any, if I can remember, bad things are said about Cathay in any of these books. And then that's, I guess, really my problem is you can't just nonstop glaze them because you want their money. There needs to be that balance. Are the elves a dying race? I believe there's a quote from a Warhammer writer. I don't know whether it's 40k or fantasy, but there are as many elves as the plot demands. That said, I didn't really read too much of the lore in this book. I read mostly the mechanical stuff, because I figured that's majority of what people would care about, but I bet you it would be in this section here. It says, an era of ambition, progress, and hope. It's on the rise once more, emboldened by strong diplomatic and mercantile ties that have produced great wealth and global influence. So there you have it. I'm just going to settle with just reading that one sentence, and then that's my opinion. No, let's see. Yeah, I mean, they're not so much dying anymore. I think, they're very much like, their situation's always been precarious, but in a way, I kind of like if things aren't, because like that's very generic fantasy. The elves are dying. The elves are dying. Having suffered like all these catastrophes and just being like barely recovering, I think that could still be interesting. I don't know. The Stallion fan-made book, I would love to do a review on. I think I briefly glanced over it. Something about... There's something about, like, a big revolt or something in their history. I don't know if that's the fan history or the canon history. And as a result, like, the people are just super chill now. But Estalia just seems like such a chill place. It seems like the one chill place in the old world, really. Yeah, man. It's very like performative, like trying to like just get the money out of the market instead of approaching it from a solid place. And frankly, there's no good way to say this, but I feel like Okay, for example, Total War Warhammer 3, that giant guardian with the bow, the stone guy, the sentinel guy, and the design of some of the units are very good. And like everything about it is over designed, if in a way, like it's over designed, over complicated, and it's really hard to find a good way to say this, but basically, I mean, even before AI art, like Chinese fantasy art basically resembles AI fantasy art a lot. Maybe that's because where it's getting trained from, I don't know, but I don't like that style of like it's way too much, right? It's too clean. It feels too overdriven. Less is more sometimes, right? Um and I don't know if that's part of like because I know there's a lot of restrictions if you're making a game in China or to the Chinese market. There's a lot of restrictions you have to follow. I don't know if it's part of something like that or if it's just the art style they prefer and they're like talking to consultants and they're like, yes, this is what we would like. I don't know. But yeah, I would like them to not have the kid gloves on and to treat them that they would treat anyone else. Basically, that's all I'm asking. With that, real stallions make a family in last year. Oh my god, the implications of that are settling into my brain. All right, a Mordheim City book, dude. I would actually be down. I would unironically be down. I would be so down for that. Kislev has already gotten a book, though. Kislev does have Realm of the Ice Queen, which is an amazing book. But, Kislev is ruled by a secret cabal of fucking ice wizards. Probably since time immemorial. Like, you think the Czechists just showed up during Tsarina Katarina's reign? You think they just appeared out of nowhere during her reign? You think that the daughter of the last Tsar just happens to be an ice mage and just happens to become the next Tsarina herself? You think the Ice Court didn't arrange that? The Tui book isn't that outdated. There's not much Kislev lore to begin with. I think it's very interesting. You've got this ancient widow is the spirit of Kislev. It is Kislev, the ancient widow. That is said to be her name, the name of the land, and its people. Right? And it said she called to them when they were way east. East of even, I think, the Mountains of Morn. Up north, with all the other steppe tribes up there. They heard her calling. But let's take a look at some of this stuff, right? So this ancient widow taught the priestesses, the people there, the secret Shoika. She taught her how to use ice magic, and she taught her daughters, her people. We're told just her daughters. And so the Kislevite people then make a huge exodus to the west, conquering the lands as they go, the Gospodari, of what would become the Gospodarini. They go way to the west to make that big swath of land we see in the Old World map, which is just probably still the lingering fragments of what they once had. And so they get there, and then nothing. Just history on them conquering the people there. What happened to the ancient widow? They don't want you to know. You see, the Ice Court, I think, found, or what the predecessor of the Ice Court found the ancient widow. The original Shoika, the Khan Queen, she's long dead at this time. It was her descendants that found the ancient widow. Now, people are taught to revere Kislev and the land and all this stuff, and the ice mages and all this stuff. And the ice mages are very keen, these witches, They are keen to shut down power, like religious cults that gain a lot of power. They moderate the amount of power that the cults of Tor, of Daz, and Ursun gain, right? They limit the cult's power, because it threatens their power. Now, they may say it's because they see the other countries and how they discriminate, but if that were true, then wouldn't that be true for a lot longer in history? Does Total War actually shows that? If it's where if I swear to fuck, I made like a whole schizophrenic thing. If it's where I put it, I'm going to shit my pants. And I don't know, dude. Let me see if I can find my, I made a whole Full Metal Alchemist ass map. Because, okay, Ice Magic is only in Kislev, right? Kislev is like one of the fucking... okay, this is a whole thing I need to go down. A whole rabbit hole. So give me a second here. So here's a... While I look this up, here's a little pop quiz. Chat. Are there men ice mages? Ice witches? Can men be ice witches? A little pop quiz for you. I'm gonna look this up as well. This alleged Total War resting place of the Ancient Widow. If this is where I put it, I am going to shit my pants. No! Wait, what? Did somebody already make a schizophrenic video on it? No way, no way. No way, man. No. Okay. So also the wiki information on the Ancient Widow is actually partially incorrect, by the way. A lot of that is not like at least it's misinterpreted. Like a lot of it is just pulled right from the book, The Realm of the Ice Queen. But people misinterpret it, the hag thing on it a little bit too much. The connection there. Yes, Dakjan, you're right. That's correct. That is correct. That is the correct take. You can. There are male ice wizards, but they are hunted down and they are searched for at like every so often when they're looking for female candidates to become new ice witches. They also check, and any male boy that displays that power is killed. The people themselves are indoctrinated into a belief system in which they themselves are actively perpetuating this in happening. So you literally have the people themselves brainwashed into believing that their sons are going to cause the downfall of Kislevite society. Why is this? It's because the Ice Court wants it that way. Why do they want it that way? Because that would threaten their power otherwise. They may say this or that, but literally, when you have a society with secret police, it's time to start asking some basic questions, I think. Why do we have a secret police? And, you know, I think if you go back far enough, I think with how long-lived the ice mages are, the ice witches, how much they hoard their power, how they didn't give a shit when Tsarina Katerina the Bloody, the vampire, the Lamian vampire, ruled over Kislev, the Ice Court didn't care. They're just like, whatever. She's not bothering us, and she didn't. And we won't bother her, and they didn't. They didn't even try to help take back the country. A bunch of normal people had to kill that vampire. And at first they just thought, oh, a long-lived pale woman with magic ruling our country? What's the difference? Why would they think that? Why would they think that? You have to ask yourself these questions. You have to ask yourself these questions. Why would they just let a vampire do that? Power. It's always been about power and control and greed. This is what the Ice Court doesn't want you to know. See, I think they found the Ancient Widow. But I don't think they were kind to her. I don't think they just let her go and released her. I don't think so. Now, who or what is the Ancient Widow? It could be a lot of things. It's an Ancient Widow. It's been there for a long time. Possibly since the Polar Gates. Maybe the ley lines of Kislev are actually a giant refrigeration and induction device. Or maybe that's just crazy. Maybe the Ancient Widow was a goddess that got captured. That happens in Warhammer. 40k can attest to that. What if, when things are frozen, they are in stasis? What if when they are in stasis, I mean, that's it right there. Arianka. Is it the one-E god? That's what it originally was hinted at being, back in old lore. The god of stasis herself trapped in there. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a dragon. An ancient dragon from the time of the old ones, when they moved the planet closer to the sun, and they got so tired they fell asleep. And the only place that they found refuge was in Kislev, due to how bitterly cold it was. Maybe because of the ley lines that are set up to facilitate ice magic, for it is a magic that is not seen elsewhere in the world. And according to the rules in 2E, I believe, if I remember correctly, it gets weaker the further away from Kislev you get, especially so in hot climates, but also just generally the proximity. So why is this? Is the magic inherently tied to the land? Well, I guess it would be if her name is Kislev, but then we think and we stop and we look, and no, they were millions of miles away, not millions, in the steppes, and they were still casting spells, so it can't be that. So this just raises questions. So if you play as Astanka, there's a building called the Widow's Tree, a wretched twisted tree with white fronds spreading far and wide. Bones adorn its branches, and the folklore tells that it's inhabited by a spirit older than some gods. That could mean a lot of things. It could be the Ancient Widow. I don't know if it necessarily is. That is the Widow's Tree, sure. But I don't know. Maybe. I mean, this is that completely dismantles my whole theory, so of course I will disagree with it. No, but got new lore, Eastern College. Yeah. That map of the old world supports this, I think, if anything. I mean, regardless of what it is, I think it's best if they keep it vague forevermore. Honestly, I think you don't want to reveal the mystery too much. I think that's fun for like DMs like myself to explore, but I don't think that's something that should be like forced on the community to accept as like the canon, right? But one thing I'd like to think potentially, and I know I've got my players who are watching my video, so I've put a few different theories in here so that they can't, know what I'm up to. And this is just one of many. It's probably not even the right one. But one thing I'd like to think too is that potentially there used to be a lot of men who were allowed to be ice wizards, but when the Kong Queen found the Ancient Widow's body, something maybe she was corrupted beforehand, maybe something else. She decided to take that power for herself. And maybe during the course of her reign, you know, many people rose up against her, and she only kept those that were loyal to her. And maybe, you know, as part of everything of just trying to get that control, one easy and blanket solution was to just, yeah, prophecy says men can't cast ice magic. It'll ruin it'll ruin the magic. It'll ruin Kislev. It'll kill us all. Maybe there's actually a different prophecy. Maybe there's a prophecy that says when, you know, the descendants of the original Kong Queen, maybe like X amount of men, X amount of women, when they come together, they will save Kislev, or some shit like that. And maybe that's what they're trying to prevent because they don't want to lose their power. Maybe the Ice Court knows that they'll lose their long lifespan, which they steal from sapping it from the vegetated corpse of the ancient widow. They'll lose that, and they don't want to die. So it's as shrimple as that. Or maybe it's much more complex, and a lot more is going on. I would love to help write Kislev lore if they'd let me. I don't know, with what I just said, they might not let me anywhere near anything. They are hiring writers right now if anyone's interested. That said, I do hope it's kept kind of vague. Dakjin, I actually, the campaign I'm running for I need my water, man. The campaign that I'm running for some of my real life friends, they, one of them is a male ice witch on the run. And his session 0, actually, is on my channel. The audio quality is terrible. I will forewarn you. It gets a little better 45 minutes in. But it's an old recording, and there was just a lot of problems with the recording in general. But it's up there. It's up there, and I think it's pretty interesting. And it's my kind of take on how things go, as it were. Because I had to think. You have to think. Okay, if you're having a character play an ice mage and they're a dude, how the hell are they even a person, right? How the hell at whatever age your character starts at, how have they been around that long? Now, magic can manifest at different ages, sure. Maybe they didn't know. But they seek out the potential, right? In people, and I don't know, like, it'd be very hard to hide that for so very long, right? It would require a conspiracy. And from there, a lot of things start building. And then you just get, like, a whole story. And, like, that's what I love about things like that, is it requires you to think outside the box, and you kind of constantly just be asking yourself, like, okay, so then what does this lead to? Well, then what does that lead into? So, okay, so then what's the effect of this on that then? And it creates this, like, very organic sort of narrative for your players. And my player, he had a whole idea a bit, like, of kind of like of his character and all this other stuff, and I was like, nah. Nah. And through doing it kind of like this, these session 0's flashbacks, which I want to clarify too. To me, a session 0 is not the, like, Zoomer session 0, and I don't mean that in, like, a necessarily derogatory way, but to me, a session 0 is, like, where you have a character establish, like, who they kind of are. You test them as a DM. Like, okay, I rolled up a rogue. Okay, well, like, what kind of crime do you do? What lines do you draw? And you don't ask, some of it you do directly ask them certain things, like, oh, you're meeting this person. What's their name? Or something. They can come up. They can feel like they're part of it. That's fun too. But crap, I lost my train of thought. Basically, you can kind of help them have a feel for their character before that first like session with the group. And I find it leads to your players being a lot more invested. And it only takes like an hour or two to run. Yeah, I think those are good. I think that helps with like a narrative. Now, Edwin Altman, Kislevites Ice Mage, his session 0 went a little bit longer than I had planned, but that's, you know, you plan for these things. I actually want to make a video on this. I know a lot of people are going to knee-jerk react to like, oh, session 0. Oh, he's talking about like the modern session 0. I was like, oh, no, just watch the video. But, yeah, I think if you're doing like a sandbox campaign, it's super important. And I think even if you're not, it's a good way to get people invested in their characters. But, yeah, my Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition session is in 45 minutes. We're trying to head back to Kemperbad. I guess I should mention too, since man, dude, I've spent so much time on that video and it didn't get very much visibility. The algorithm, I guess, didn't like it. But the Kemper Bastards on my channel, that is an animated telling, not just telling, but like transcription, basically, of not even transcription. It is just my first session of the Kemper Bastard thing, like this group I'm in. I've been playing for like 3 years now. Just animated. It's just the first half of that session. I condensed it down as much as I could, and it's about 22 minutes worth of worth of fun. I would like to say. So if you guys haven't seen that yet, please do check it out. If you're interested in the Ice Mage stuff, check out that as well. I hope to be bringing you guys some more stuff soon. With as crazy as the world is getting, my schedule at least seems to be getting slightly better. I know I keep saying this, but I hope to see you guys again real soon. I'm gonna wind it down for now, and we are gonna call it. Thank you guys all so much for joining me. It's been a blast. I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.